Hail, Internet! It's Paul. It's Matt. The Dork Lords. We are here today talking about Episode 5 of The Penguin, Homecoming, as Vic and Oz return to their former neighborhood of Crown Point. We open with Vic and Oz setting the purple Maserati on fire. Oz brings up the memory of Rex Calabrese again, like he did with Alberto. He obviously sees Rex as a role model mob boss. I'm guessing someone will eventually tell Oz that Rex was actually a terrible person. but well, that's down the road. The two are picked up by Oz's crew, and they decide to kidnap Maroni's prodigal son, Taj. We end with our protagonists hiding out in Crown Point. Oz picks up a jar of coins from his childhood, finds a subway token, and remembers the now abandoned subway tunnels. He takes Vic on a tour of their new hideout, pointing out that the tunnels will be perfect for growing the mushrooms they'll be selling on the street. All that said, Paul.
Yes?
What'd you think of Episode 5?
Another fine episode. While I was thinking that I regretted that it didn't look like, we only got to see Sophia and Cobb on the same side for a little short time.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but they certainly done a good job of making me sympathize with Sophia.
Yep.
And having her combine forces with Rawhide from Buckaroo Banzai.
You mean the Kurgan from the best sci-fi movie of all time? Okay, but yeah, yes. Continue,
I'm sure I didn't mean that, but
okay.
But anyway, yeah, exactly. So I do actually still like and care. I don't know, maybe like isn't a strong word. I mean, Penguin is doing Colin Farrell's doing a great job of making all of Cobb's motivations make sense, and we see more with his girlfriend, with his mother.
Yeah, that was interesting how he went to both of the, say, women in his life for some kind of consolation. He's on the run. He's fearful for his life at this point because the Sal wasn't killed off and Sophia's around, and so he's in some ways he goes to both of them and he gets rejected by both of them in this episode.
Right. Well, he does mention to Eve that he wanted her to go with him so she could be he could protect her better, but she said no. So I'm sure that will blow up in her face. And,
literally. Okay.
Yeah. Because they're going to come after Cobb. And, the mom is just not appreciating how he's dealing with this situation. But, he was at least trying to keep her safe, even though she's not happy about how he's doing it.
I have a little theory on that. I'm trying to think, because I feel like the mom is probably going to get madded. But I think the one who kills her is gonna be Oz. I think somehow he's gonna lose his temper, in one of these moments. Anyway, we'll see. But I think maybe that's part of our villain arc. He ends up killing his mom, but we'll see. Anyway, just throwing that out there.
Okay, as it becomes more clear, if you feel that way,
Right.
Just
this is early
as
going. I'm just thinking narratively, how that might work.
But I'm not sure what the narrative reason why you would do that, why he would do that, and what you would gain out of it. Like, it would be easier for me to think of Victor somehow causing her death, or
sure, because he's been
or because of something that he did. Like, maybe he was close to something, but close to succeeding, but maybe that puts his mother in clear jeopardy, and Sophia does that, and so it wouldn't have happened if he hadn't been so ambitious. That I can see.
Okay.
But I'm not sure the reason why he would he got mad. It's like she's already being mean to him, and he's been used to not killing her. So
no, I get it, and he's got this really interesting moment there in the beginning where he's like, "You got to keep her safe because she keeps me good." And I'm like,
right,
this is good Oz. This is like,
right.
oh my god.
Yeah.
You know, like there's the what would happen if the mom wasn't there to keep him quote unquote good.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't. You know, question dramatically her death, but him killing her.
Him
man.
killing. Okay. I'm just throwing. I
mean, it's possible. I just don't know. You know, be interesting that like for me, the unlikely plot is Cobb and Sophia ever being on the same side again.
Right.
I think it would be a shame if she didn't make it out of this season.
I agree. I don't think.
But it's hard to see though, unless this war is longer than a season, and it might be. You know, in a way, I feel like them being in a stalemate would make more sense dramatically.
Right.
In a way, even though that would be, you know, that wouldn't be actually very dramatic, though. I mean, it's like, you know, she's a good character, so you want to keep her around, except that she's a criminal, and Batman certainly would love to put her in jail. You know, or the cops would love to if she didn't pay them off appropriately.
We got reminded that back in Crown Point, there's that guy Squid, the local drug dealer who Vic's dad was like, don't hang out with that guy. My guess is that Squid could theoretically maybe tell about the location of Oz, or
sure,
to try to use it as a way to rise up in the ranks of the Sal Sophia mob. But anyway, he's perhaps the story link that gets them found out. Perhaps anyway, there will be some kind of a confrontation between Squid and Vic, I assume. In the near future, maybe next episode.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Certainly, one thing I'm wondering about, you know, because there's a line that Victor hasn't crossed yet, and Victor hasn't killed anyone yet.
Now, has he though? Remember, he drove his car into a guy.
Yes, yeah, right. He killed that guy.
He killed that guy. Okay.
Right.
So he had shot a guy, I guess. You know, whatever.
Well, I mean, you know,
it's a car accident. Right. It happens.
You know, in order to save him, he had to kill that guy. So I can see how he might not feel like, well, maybe it's not his defense. Yeah. But you know, it's not the kind of killing that, you know, Oz did, for instance, when he killed the family member of the Falcones who was in his, you know, care, and he was like, just tell him that, you know, Vidi did it, or, you know, and then he's like, you know what, the plan has changed. Victor hasn't done anybody like that. Yeah, maybe his soul isn't important, or he's going to be mad and it doesn't matter. But
you're right. You know, interestingly too. I mean, just on that note, Vic asks Oz what, because the brothers come back up, Jack and Benny, and he asks what happened to Jack and Benny, and Oz says the city took them. I'm like, oh, that is a red flag to me. I feel like Oz had something to do with killing his brothers. I don't know what he did or what happened there, but that's not a thing you say if you didn't have anything to do with it. I
don't know. To me, I thought that stood out to me too, but to me though it was more of an example of, and maybe he did something, I don't know, but to me it was more of an example of Gotham and what it does to people. You know, I mean, Gotham is a character in this, so you know,
like what they got typhoid or something.
If they got involved in a crime family and, you know, they got squeezed that way, or, you know, if they thought that something good was going to happen to them in that city and then it didn't happen, you know, like or maybe they were sick, or maybe something happened to them and.
I just feel like if they had been killed, like that they'd been killed by a mob, he would have just said, "Oh, they were gunned down by the Maronis," or the
right."
Cops
But if they were stealing something for the family and then the city, you know, the cops killed them. He could have said the cops, I guess, but you know,
I got you.
I mean, we don't know. It's possible that this family was never nice.
It's a weirdly vague.
It's possible.
Description. Okay.
Yeah, maybe he's responsible for it, and maybe it's secret that he's keeping from his mom. Maybe his mom loved them, and he was like, well, you know, something bad happened, but I could have saved them and didn't, and never told my mom that I could have saved them.
And we do. I mean, we do see here too. I mean, the reason I'm throwing so many of, I think Oz will kill so and so.
Yeah.
Killed his family. No, it's because we do see that he kills Taj and Nadia in a pretty gruesome fashion here, like a supervillain move where he soaks Taj in oil and waits until he goes and embraces his mom and then lights him on fire and then watches. Like, woo. Yikes. Yikes. That's tough to get redeemed from, for sure.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I definitely just don't want to see redemption for him. Yeah, Sophia's in a much better place. Redemption-wise.
Good point. Yeah,
it's
now
like,
she bumps off Vitti, but Vitti was living on borrowed time, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like the scene. One of the better scenes maybe in the episode was when Vitti, he's captured and being tortured essentially, but he confesses that he knew that Carmine murdered Sophia's mom, his cousin.
Yeah, right.
Because she was going to leave.
Right, yeah. So he was going to help her leave, he claims.
Yeah. And then Sophia brings up, that he continued to work. For Carmine. And frame Sophia knowing she was innocent.
Yeah.
And so it's just interesting. We see that here with people getting ahead in the mob by crossing some moral line, right?
Yeah.
In the case of Oz, it's like, oh, I betrayed your confidence and I got you sent to our Arkham, but it did well for me. Anyway, so there's these moments where we see like, in some ways, Vitti wasn't even that apologetic. He was apologetic about it, but he wasn't. He was just like, yes. Obviously, I worked for your dad. He was the mob boss. What do you mean? It didn't equate like, oh no, of course I would take a stand in this moment. So it's interesting that's this life that we're experiencing here. It's interesting.
Sure.
So I think she only lets him live so that she can kill him in front of the gang. Because she carefully points out to the gang how Vitti is the only made man in the room.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
And how the made men unfairly reaped all the rewards from the low-level gangsters. And so then she says that they're going to cease being Falcones. I think she knows he'll object, and then she'll just shoot him. And then she does, and,
Yeah, I mean, they were, you could have believed until she shot him that she needed him around to tell her where the money was. She had the money, and then she decided he didn't have any more use.
He did say, once I tell you where the money is, you're just going to kill me. But
Yeah.
He was right.
He was right. Yeah.
But so now they're no longer the Falcones. They're the Gigantes.
That's right.
Which means, season 2, Sophia has some weird side effect from one of these drugs, and becomes Giganta. Then bring on the Legion of Doom. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. You remember Giganta from the Legion of Doom cartoon?
I don't.
You don't? Okay. That's just from the comics, too. You're like a 52-foot tall woman, basically. Evil woman who was on,
yes. I think she was from the New Gods, perhaps.
I am glad that Clancy Brown is alive, Rawhide. But I would say it's a fairly poor murder attempt. It was like a single stab to the stomach with like a short knife.
Yeah.
And then how did Sal use the prison keys to leave the jail? Like, I get it, keys are helpful, but I think it would take more than just like keys. You'd have to get past the guards. You got to get outside. I don't know. Like, there would be a whole thing of like just, oh great, I have the keys, now I can leave. But he did.
Sure, yeah. Yep.
Maybe he learned from his days as a prison guard watching Andy Dufresne. There you go. That's how he got it. He's not Rawhide. He's Shawshank Redemption, baby.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, I've seen this theory, and I'm not ready to fully embrace this theory yet, but it is intriguing. Okay, so the theory is the present-day Julian Rush a figment of Sophia's imagination? Is he all in her head? Their conversations are always one-on-one, I believe.
Well, he was there with the rest of the group.
Yeah, but just standing there silently when she walks in, if he's a figment, then he's like, just stand there. He's not really a member of the mob, but he's a doctor, but I don't know. Maybe one reason he seems too good to be true is because he's too good to be true. The scene, though, that would break this premise is in this episode. There's a knock on the door on Sophia's room. She says yes, and a guard opens the door. Rush walks in. Sophia stares at the guard, and the guard leaves and closes the door, and then they have their conversation. So if you were going to go with the theory, you'd have to believe that the show is trying to fool us, give us like tricks into believing that Julian Rush is actually a person, and that the guard opened the door because Sophia called out, and then like looked in and then quietly shut the door again when she didn't do anything, like writing off the moment, like, well, crazy boss, okay. So I'm not willing to 100% go in on it, but it is interesting. It's a possibility that it's a holdover from what she saw is like this only little source of kindness in my Arkham world. Now I've carried over. He quit out of some kind of sense of indignation, and he's anyway. Just to say, I'm going to be watching carefully to see scenes where he interacts with someone else. Sure, that'll be the time. Like, aha! All right, he's real. But until then, we could have a Legion.
Wait,
thing.
He's talking to Bruce Willis.
Exactly. That's no proof at all. So we got 3 more episodes. They've obviously, the stakes keep getting raised. Now you've got, the heads of 2 families that are firmly in the Kill Oz camp. They basically both have lost loved ones at Oz's hands in the very recent past. So revenge. They're going to be out for revenge big time.
Sure.
And so Oz's mom is certainly in the crosshairs. So we'll be back talking about episode 6. Thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir.
You're welcome. No problem.
And we'll talk to everybody next time.